Hello, my Facebook fam. How are you guys? Saturday afternoon. Feeling fine. And I'm jumping on here real quick because I have something I want to talk about. And I feel like somebody out there needs this message today. So if you're on, let me know. I'm going to be talking about how to shift out of perfectionism and into wealth consciousness. So if you're on there, let me know. Oh my God. Hello. Whoops. If you're on there, let me know. Say hi. Let me know what you're up to this Saturday afternoon. We're talking about how to shift out of perfectionism and into wealth consciousness. It's Saturday afternoon, so people are probably out and about doing stuff. But this is an important topic, and I wanted to dig into this because I know somebody out there needs this message today. Hey, Alana. Hey, Gorge. Perfectionism and wealth consciousness, because perfectionism does get in the way of your wealth consciousness. It gets in the way of making money. It 100% does. And it can keep you there for a really long time. It can keep you there for years and years. And that is not a place you want to be stuck in. This is actually also a great live stream for my clients, a few of which struggle with perfectionism. Now, the number one thing I want you to think about when you're thinking about perfectionism is this. Perfectionism is this static state. Okay? Perfectionism is a static state. You cannot stay in perfectionism. You cannot. Because it's static. It's one-dimensional. It's one moment. It's one thing turning out perfect. You cannot stay there. So having the expectation that you're going to create wealth consciousness in a state that is static does not compute. It doesn't compute. It's not going to happen, because the truth is life is flow. Energy is flow. Money is flow. You want to get into flow and out of static states of being. Okay? And that's one of the biggest things that is going to help you break through that block, is for your conscious mind and your subconscious mind to understand that perfectionism is static. And wealth consciousness is about flow. It's about money coming in, going out, bringing more money in, spending money, bringing more money in, spending money. It's a flow. And if you're not used to being in an energetic flow, you're going to be after this static state of perfectionism. And you're going to be stuck there. You're going to be stuck trying to get to this place that doesn't move. It's one moment. It's one moment in time. And you want wealth consciousness all the time. You want money coming to you all the time. And when you break it down for your brain that way, that can really release a huge block for you, is to understand that money doesn't come to static, to stagnant, to a place that's not moving. It comes to things that are always moving, right? We know the universe loves a vacuum. It loves to fill something that is empty. It doesn't love to get on top of something that's already full. It wants to move through something. Right? Just like water wants to move through something. You want to be in the flow. You do not want to be in a static state. So stop aiming for that perfectionism, because it's totally blocking wealth consciousness for you. It's totally blocking wealth for you. The other thing I want you to think about is that perfectionism, the root of perfectionism comes from being shamed about being wrong. So if you didn't do the right thing as a kid, if you were wrong, if you were somehow weren't doing what your parents thought was the right thing, you will have gotten shamed from that, from, authorities around you. And so you've created this program where if you do things right, you get rewarded, and if you do things wrong, you get shamed. And so this whole program is running to keep you out of feeling shamed. So that's the thing you need to focus on. That is the root core wound you need to focus on. You need to tap on it. You need to journal on it. You need to be guided through how to release that, because you're doing all this work to avoid the shame, and the shame's going to be there anyway. Because there's a shame of like existing. There's a shame of being, right? That you think you can fix by doing things perfectly, by showing up perfectly, by winning, by making the money, whatever it is. And you can't heal that core wound with money. You can't heal the wound of shame with money. You can't heal it with anything but self-love. So perfectionism is really that place of like just trying to keep yourself away from the shame or the criticism or the judgment that you think is going to come out of doing things wrong. And your value doesn't come from whether you do things right or wrong. Your value, your worth is. It just is. It just is. It just is. It just is. If there are conditions on your value, if there are conditions on your worth, you're never going to get it, right? Like you're never going to have it. It is unconditional that you're worthy. It is unconditional that you're valuable. So putting conditions on that is the perfectionism, is a way for you to basically set up never having it. And we want the opposite of that. We want you to set up that you always have love, that you always have worth, that you always have value. But we need to create habits that are going to help you create that in your life. Okay, so don't peek around the corner. I'll put you on camera, boo. It's my husband peeking around the corner. I'm like, I will put you on camera. I don't care if it's Saturday. I do have broccoli in the background because we're healthy like that. And our sazon over there too. Such perfect timing working through this now. I'm glad this resonates for you, Carmen. Your worth and your value are not conditional things. And when you get into perfectionism, you're setting up a condition for you to be valued. If people approve of you, if you do it right, if you're not wrong, then you will be valued, which is BS. You're setting up a BS program for yourself, and you're blocking wealth by proxy. You're blocking wealth by thinking that program. So get out of that external focus. Get into the internal focus where you start giving yourself the self-worth. Anyone who has perfectionism stuff has self-love, self-worth, self-value stuff going on. Okay, and it's blocking you from wealth. It's, thinking that the timing is going to be right, that when you get this perfect package out, when you get your message perfectly, when you look amazing and get everything on your face fixed so you can do live streams, whatever it is an external thing. And your manifestation never comes from the external. It always comes from the internal. So start tapping on, I'm valuable all the time. I'm worthy all the time. There are no conditions on my worth. Start tapping on your worthiness stuff, on your self-love stuff, on your worth stuff, and start removing that program from your consciousness. Like, you want to move into a higher consciousness to be able to attract a lot of wealth. You want to move into a higher consciousness. So start getting internally focused. Otherwise, the perfectionism is going to be setting up blocks upon blocks upon blocks to your wealth that are based on conditions that are external, that really have nothing to do with how you manifest. How you manifest has to do with the internal. So you also want to look at the root of your perfectionism. When did you first get shamed? When did you first get criticized? Were you surrounded by that? And is that the way in which you talk to yourself? So you need to take a look at that and break that down. Where did that come from? And break it down and break through it. Because it's easy to get caught in that loop, right? If there was a really deep fear around being wrong or getting it wrong, that made you feel bad for being alive, which is how we feel when we're kids when we do something wrong, it can feel really extreme, then we're working really hard to avoid that. It's taking up too much energy, too much bandwidth that we could be using to create wealth instead. So